Hello guys, and welcome to our Kala Ghoda unboxing. It is an exciting time because the Mumbad Cycle is starting.
It started.
Tim, give me 3 words for how you feel about that.
Incredibly, ultimately, excited.
Incredibly, ultimately excited. IUE, as we say. Hey, speaking of incredibly excited, we have sent out the first batch of Lotus tokens. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. Covenant subscriptions, we send you data packs, $15, charge you, send you the stuff, shipping's included. It's awesome. US only, unfortunately, right now.
And that Lotus token...
The Lotus token is bomb. It's the only way to get it.
Gorgeous.
So check it out. Go and check out our subscription service. It's definitely worth your time. Now, after that public service announcement, let's dive into this pack, shall we?
We're in.
Kala Ghoda. I'm going to start it off with Run Amok here. It is the Anarch card of the century. Questionably. 3 cost, Run Sabotage Event. So it's got some subtypes there. It's called Run Amok. It's got some beautiful Anarchs planning a big disaster across the city. 3 influence, and it says, make a run. When the run ends, trash 1 piece of ice that was rezzed during this run. Doesn't matter if the run's successful or unsuccessful.
To me, this just screams remote play.
Screams remote play. Tell me more.
Well, if you
How so?
have a server that's 1 or 2 ice deep,
Yes.
and I'm just installed Advance, and then you as the runner are like, Run Amok. I then have to make choices.
Yeah, tough choices.
Do I want to lose these ice?
Yeah.
It depends on what they
Are
are.
the subroutines resolving on this ice worth that ice being lost? Really? So there's the agenda being scored potentially. Because okay, so let's imagine. Let's throw some dream scenarios out here. Okay.
Dreams.
First scenario. 1 piece of ice on the remote, card behind it, probably an agenda or something worth getting early game, second turn. Install ice, install remote, advance it, don't advance it, not sure. Either way, Run Amok that remote. What do you do as the court? Tough. Either way, they're getting what's behind the remote, or you're losing a piece of ice, and then they're getting what's behind the remote. So that's a good play. 2 pieces of ice could potentially be the same thing. Run Amok, lose a piece of ice. Same old thing, Run Amok again. Do I lose that second piece of ice?
Or just run it.
Or just run it? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting use cases here. Now, the question is for this card, and we don't know the answer to this. That's kind of why we're here talking about it. Is it going to replace what's currently working for remote pressure or general pressure on corp ice in your deck right now?
That is the tough question.
Is it strong enough? Can it fit into a new theme? Maybe Eater, Keyhole, Cutlery, and Run Amok? Is there more pieces stacking up where we can start to actually churn through ice?
You might be hitting a critical mass where you can actually, in Anarch, just nail it.
Well, if we can, let's try, guys. Run Amok, cool card, interesting. Not Cyber Threat, which I originally thought that it was.
It is not Cyber Threat.
What's
Up
this
next,
weird?
we have the Ramadan Reliant 550 BMI.
That's the wordiest cereal I've ever heard.
It's cereal. Are you cereal?
Yeah, it's a body mass index, right?
Yep.
So it's monitoring them while they're eating cereal. I'm not sure the implications there.
Who knows? It is 1 cost.
Yep.
It is hardware. It's consumer grade. It's Anarch. It's 1 influence.
Okay.
Now, consumer grade is a new subtype of hardware that is being added in this cycle, which means you can have 6 copies of it in your deck.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
It is interesting.
Like we said before, card slots are the real commodity of Netrunner.
I can't think of a single card outside of maybe Clone Chip that right now I'd want 6 copies of in my deck.
Maybe like a hedge fund.
Lucky Find?
Lucky
Oh,
Find.
hedge fund and sure gamble would be cool. Yeah, that ain't
But
happening.
like in general, it's just one of those things that it's hard to find 6 slots. So this
worth looking for.
better do something good. It has a trash preventability. Prevent up to X net or brain damage. Trash cards from the top of your stack equal to the amount of damage prevented. X is the number of copies of Ramadan Reliant 550 BMI installed, including the one just trashed.
Okay.
So if I have...
Wait, that's the end?
That's the end. If I have 6 of these installed, I can trash 1 to prevent 6 net or brain damage and trash 6 from my deck.
Yeah. Okay.
Assuming I paid 6 money and 6 actions to install these.
Why would you ever do this? This doesn't make any sense. This card makes no sense. Okay. First of all, it doesn't make any sense because A, you're not running net damage or brain damage prevention currently. So why are you going to start doing it now? B, if you're running net damage prevention, it probably doesn't revolve around you trashing your own deck to prevent net damage, which is its greatest threat. Everybody who plays against Jinteki, Personal Evolution, is like, I only lose to net damage when I'm out of deck. Okay, otherwise I run smart because you can't have something so powerful that you lose. I mean, like maybe a June bug occasionally this could save you from. listen, we don't need it now. Why do we need it? Like with this card
Maybe
releasing?
we'll see some stuff in the cycle that makes us really want to prevent some brain damage.
We might see some consumer grade runners or something. We might, who knows what
What
we'll
if
see.
there's just an HB event that's like,
If this
pay X, give X brain damage?
If this did meat damage as well, I would think that it's a great alternative to something like 2 plascretes or some things where it's like, I'll put 3 of these and instead have a little bit more diverse protection and still hopefully be able to prevent the scorch plays. I don't see this
It's just not
happening,
making the cut.
It's not making it. It's certainly not 6 of them. Maybe. I would only ever want 3 at max, and that's if it worked on meat damage. Maybe it'll change.
That's fair.
Let's talk about street magic. Good art here. Snakes and canes. We've got
Snakes and canes.
In fact, it's a snake on a cane.
Snake on a cane.
Boom! We did it. Synergy. Street magic, 0 cost, virtual resource.
It's important.
It's 1 influence. Unbroken subroutines resolve in the order of your choice. Okay, this, we could talk for years about this. Here's what it comes down to. There's a lot of nasty ice out there that does bad stuff to you and then ends the run. There's also cards like Little Engine that end the run and then do good stuff. Well, there's 1 card that I can think of. So, are you going to run this?
No.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, there's use cases for it, but like, it's such a low impact card. Ultimately,
I think if the meta becomes Weiland with a bunch of archers,
yeah,
I'll play it.
maybe, yeah.
Because then it's just a
even
0
then,
cost archer does nothing.
I'd rather have David. I mean, you know, like,
Right. But this is 0 cost, 1 influence. So you can put in other, like, if I'm a criminal player and there's a bunch of archers everywhere,
Yeah.
and a bunch of Heimdalls, and all of this kind of stuff,
maybe.
I could slot it in.
Yeah, maybe.
You could.
Yeah, maybe.
You can also run it with Apex.
Yeah, that's important.
Because it's virtual.
And you can always Aesop's it. I mean, let's get right to it.
It's true. All right, up next, we have High Stakes Job.
new criminal
It's
card.
a new criminal card with some
Okay.
very interesting art. It's
gorgeous.
6 cost and 3 influence.
Gorgeous.
Steven.
Okay, well, that's expensive
It's a
every
run.
sense of the word.
It's a job.
Okay.
Make a run on a server with at least 1 piece of unrest ice. When the run ends, gain 12 credits if it was successful.
Okay. All right, what do we think about this?
I think it's good.
So this is a 1-click lucky find, is that right?
Yep.
Is the math right? I always thought it was 6.
You get 6. Yep.
So 1-click lucky find. All you have to do is successfully run a server with an unrest piece of ice. This is a pretty strong money card.
I think it's a very strong money card.
This is a really strong money card.
it
Is this
also-
what criminal needs though
I
to
don't
be
think
competitive?
I don't think that criminals have been struggling with money
I agree with that.
in their life.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad for sure. It definitely helps. This also synergizes well with Kin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know. I think it's a good card. I don't know that it's necessarily brings criminal up to the point that they need to be.
It's just a tiny little boost, and it's good. I mean, there'll be times when you're like, I'm at 3 credits, and this is the last thing I want, like Liberated Account for Anarch. And then there are times where it's like, I just like gave myself a giant advantage.
Yeah.
Especially like, you account siphon the core, take them down to nothing, and then go high stakes job this remote or high stakes job R&D. You see the card, you gain 6 credits. I mean, it can be really powerful. So
Yeah.
interesting. But like, it's not adding anything new to criminal.
No, it's
That's
not. It's not widening them.
Let's talk about Mongoose.
A Mongoose.
Shall we? Good, gorgeous art. I absolutely love this art.
It's great.
It's an icebreaker and a killer. It's 1 strength and 2 influence. So 1 strength icebreaker, it costs 3, so it's about on par with what you'd expect from a normal icebreaker. You cannot use it to break subroutines on more than 1 ice per run. So you can only use it on a single piece of ice per run. Plus 2 strength for 2 credits and 1 credit to break up to 2 sentry subroutines. It's just another icebreaker. Tim.
I like it.
It's okay.
I like it.
It's okay.
It's going to replace Mimic and Criminal decks, I think.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. So I mean, you're breaking. Let's see, what are the bats to do? So Architect, you're breaking it for 3 credits,
Which is good.
It's less efficient than Mimic in that case, but it's still more bendable, so you can handle the Ichis and even the Archers. Heaven forbid if you gotta
You're
go.
also breaking Pups for 1.
That's important, actually. That is pretty good. So it has its place. It's right in the middle, and this is probably pretty good icebreaker design, to be honest.
I think it's good.
It's not wildly better than anything, but it's a viable alternative to whatever you're spending influence on.
I think that's very accurate. I think that's how it's going to be played.
All right, fair. Well, we agree. It must be right.
Up next, we have Jasmine Serene. She has 0 link. She is the girl behind the curtain.
Very cool.
She is a natural identity, 45-15, all standard stuff. But she has this ability that says avoid the first tag during each run.
Man, you just have to look at this and say, cool. I mean, your eyes, your brain, everything lights up and says, this is a special opportunity to look at what kind of attack I might build with this.
Now, the cards that immediately come to mind:
Vamp,
Account Siphon, Code Siphon. And then
her console,
which we'll talk about in a second.
TB
it's also very, 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 very good against Data Raven.
Very good.
And Gutenberg.
Ooh, so good.
Both of those things are very good.
Yes.
I think that she's cool. She's interesting. She's going to have some interesting decks, I think.
Yeah.
And she will see play, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could easily see a return to the Opus Vamp style of play that Shaper kind of toyed with for a bit. Especially like the kind of slower Shaper decks that try to land that big Vamp and then smash R&D. I think she's got some play. I think she does have some serious play. Very cool design space too. Looks good, feels good. Awesome. Yep. Can't say more. Let's talk about Maya, which by the way is illusion in the Hindu mythos there. So the illusion that keeps you from alignment. Basically the physical material world is Maya. 3 cost. Look at that degree coming in handy. 3 cost. Hardware console. 3 influence. Plus 2 immu.
So it's 3 cost for 2 memory.
That's
which
really solid.
By itself is
only
super
Grimoire can compete. Right?
Correct.
I think the Grimoire is the only competition. Once per turn, immediately after you access a card from R&D, immediately, whoa, don't do anything else, you may add it to the bottom of R&D and take a tag. Now, of course, if you're running our gal here, then you are not taking that tag, which makes this a great little ability, especially with R&D interface and Maker Zion faction.
Now, according to what has been ruled online unofficially and not in an FAQ or anything like that, this works in a very interesting way with like not breaking news, news team.
Oh, goodness.
So you can take it as the -1 point and then put it under the deck.
Oh, cool.
Because you access it still. It's immediately after it goes
Weird. That's weird. I have to make a token for that.
Yeah, so that's just interesting.
Yeah, okay, but this is a great console. A great little alternative to a lot of other Shaper consoles. Yeah. Could potentially even see play outside in big R&D decks, maybe even medium stuff. Very, very cool, and look, you have to love the art. Oh,
it's gorgeous.
I love the art
all
style.
of the art in this cycle is great so far.
I love Hindu mythology so much. It's painful.
That's good.
So sorry.
It's good.
Oh, baby, did you get it?
Up next,
Plinko.
Panchatantra.
Tim got the weirdest card in the pack.
Panchatantra.
You got to talk about
it. It is 2 cost, 1 memory program, 2 influence, Shaper. Once per turn, when you encounter a piece of ice, you may have it gain 1 subtype of your choice that is not Sentry, Code Gate, or Barrier for the remainder of this run.
All right, well, we got to talk about some things.
All right, so the obvious things.
Let's put our professor glasses on.
First of all, is you can give them subtypes like Tracer. So now with Gingerbread, you can break it.
Yep.
Or Next, so you can use David to break that 4 strength something.
That's use cases bizarre, but it's there.
You can give it Destroyer, break it with Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Then you can also do some weird things.
Yeah, we've seen some weird stuff. There's some articles floating around out there.
So you could give Wrap Around the Barrier subtype.
Yeah. See, this is where it gets weird.
Which means that now it's a 0 strength.
Yeah.
You could give Enforcer the Console subtype.
That's bizarre.
So now it trashes itself.
And where was this? I remember there was a compilation of like 6 weird things that you can do. It was hosted.
You guys look it up. The Winning Agenda or something
Google
like
it.
that.
It was really well done, and check that out. That is really
6
worth it.
things they don't want you to know.
We're gonna put a link to it right here.
Yes.
We got it. Somewhere. I'm not gonna point.
But there's just lots of interesting things you can do with it.
Yeah. So here's what we got. Let's break it down to the foundational aspect. 1 subtype, you may have the ice gain 1 subtype of your choice that is not Sentry, Code Gate, or Barrier. In the rules, in the FAQ, there is nothing that limits the text of subtype. So if you look it up, it simply says basically like a descriptor of a card. So there's currently nothing that restricts this to only ice subtypes that we're familiar with. You can give this literally any word.
You could give it
anything you want. Anything you want.
In anything.
So it's weird. It's going to see a lot of play. There's this the Gingerbread deck running around. Gingerbread and 3 of these and SMC to get them all out, so you can hit 3-rung servers pretty easily. There's a lot of strange stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. And if you ever want to do something weird, make this the starting point of what you're doing. Let's talk about Artist Colony. It's a 0 cost resource and location for the Shapers. It is 3 influence and it is gorgeous. Forfeit an agenda. Oh, here we go. Search your stack for a card and install it, paying the install cost, shuffle your stack. So a universal tutor effect that comes into play. All you gotta do is pay the cost. Any card.
any card that can be installed.
Any card that can be installed.
So it can't do events.
That's right.
This is interesting. It's definitely strong if there are a lot of news teams and queues and
or even the 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah, things like that.
You want to take that back? No, I'll use it.
It's so hard to forfeit an agenda, though.
It is hard. I mean, you think you're playing HP food, this is not going to get you anything.
No.
I mean, but at the same time, maybe, I mean, we've seen some stuff out of Ian that makes this look reasonable, where it's like you score, I go get a critical card and make it happen. It's different. It has to be an installed card. You have to steal and forfeit an agenda. It's tough right now because a lot of agendas are so hard to get anyway. Future perfects and NAPDs and these kinds of things.
The other thing is you're not going to put this in Ian. It's 3 influence.
No, it's got to be in Shaper. It's got to be in Shaper.
It's so tough. And this is probably the best forfeited agenda we've seen so far.
This card is a plant. It's a plant like some of these other ones, like Data Dealer. And as the game progresses to weird decks that are giving you agendas that you don't want, you're going to pull this one out of the binder. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Ooh, the university.
Up next, we have the Chatterjee University.
All right.
It's a 1-cost neutral resource. It's a location. It's ritzy. You click to place 1 power counter on Chatterjee University. Okay. Simple. You click to install a program from your grip, lowering the install cost by 1 for each power counter on Chatterjee University. Remove hosted power counter. One hosted power counter.
Man, that is, See, I kind of wish all of that. I wish like IT department had been worded like this in a way that I guess they couldn't because they can't use the action as the cost. But this makes a lot more sense. We don't have to deal with all that confusing language.
Now, I look at this card and I'm like, oh, cool. You can like bank clicks and it's interesting.
Tim, I look at this card and I think, I don't want to do the math on this.
So it's not that hard. You click 5 times to put 5 counters on it.
Okay.
You click to install something for 5 for free. You click to install something for 4 for free. You click to install for something for 3.
Yeah, that seems good. Is that...
So that's 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12 money for 8 clicks.
Okay.
Which does not sound as good.
It doesn't sound as great, does it?
But then you can click to put a counter, click to put a counter. Like, eventually the math does make sense. And you're saving lots of money.
It's got to be a lot of math, though.
The problem, ultimately, is the math, you can just run Opus and click it, and it's way better. Tough. It's not a Shaper card, obviously, but I don't know.
Place 1 power counter on it, install the program from your grip, pulling this up. It's bizarre. If you could install, without clicking to install, it'd be incredible.
Yeah.
But with a click, I don't know. I mean, these are the cards that people find ways to use that I am always like, oh man, missed it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, guys, if you were looking for a better explanation. Advanced Concept Hopper, a 4/2 for HB is next. It is a research agenda. And it says the first time the runner initiates a run each turn, you may draw a card or gain 1 credit.
Now this is a 4/2 I can get behind.
This is actually this is a good agenda. This is a really good agenda.
With the advent of the most wanted list, people are now thinking about not NAPD as their
I could see this over NAPD.
And this just is good. It's just pure efficiency.
The ETF advantage comes in even harder on this one. You can break out of some R&D locks. You can even do some weird stuff like if you have the agenda on top there, let's say they indexed or something, which is less likely now, but they make the run, you draw the card. And it's like, ooh, not there anymore. What are you going to do about it? Those kinds of things. So there's some strange stuff you can do with this, but generally it's just a good econ card.
Just pure efficiency.
Pure efficiency. All right, it's advanced concepts.
Up next, we have Vikram 1.0.
Ooh, the art. Ooh.
That art is real good. It is a 6-cost, 5-string Sentry.
Okay.
So right off the bat, it's good. It's got the Biroid, Tracer, and AP subtypes.
Stock just keeps going up, doesn't it?
It has the typical, you can spend clicks to break subroutines. It's got 3 subroutines, Steven.
Okay, that's important for this kind of ice.
It is. The runner cannot use programs for the remainder of the run.
Okay, fine.
It's pretty good. Trace 4, if successful, do 1 brain damage. Trace 4, if successful, do 1 brain damage.
All right. Now keep in mind, you break all the subroutines before they start to trigger.
Yeah.
So I can not trigger the first one and still break the second 2 with my Sentry Breaker, and then it will trigger, and it would impact the next piece of ice if there is one, but I can still break what I choose here. So this is doing brain damage, which of itself is kind of okay, and it has its place in that.
It's getting better as time goes on.
There's the HP brain damage deck that everybody's wanting to play, ultimately, and maybe this takes it to a better place. It's a good little ice offering. It's fine.
Like I see this piece of ice and I see you put it on R&D or something. It's like you can't run through it.
Does Weiland run 3 of these instead of 3 assassins?
No.
You don't think so? That's probably true. I don't know, but it's worth asking. It's worth asking.
And you might run a number of them.
Yeah.
Over. I don't know.
Does this make Stronger Together worth anything?
No.
Here's my thing about this.
Math.
Here's my thing about this. I don't think anybody in their right mind is actually breaking this with a Sentry Breaker in the standard way. They're either clicking through it, they're Daviding through it, or they're just avoiding it altogether.
Or they're like Ottman on 4 with one counter.
Exactly. Which maybe Stronger Together has a use case there, but I don't know.
But even then, I don't know.
But it's good to have in the pool. I think this is a relevant piece of ice.
I think it's a good piece of ice.
Can we talk about Heritage
We
Committee?
can.
It's a 1-cost alliance operation for Jinteki. It is 2 influence. But it costs 0 influence. You have 6 or more non-alliance Jinteki cards in your deck.
So if I have 3 snares and 3 psychic fields,
this is free.
I can put this in my deck for free.
Okay.
If I'm not Jinteki.
So you're paying 1 to draw 3 cards and then add one of those cards. Well, not one of those, but add a card from HQ to the top of R&D.
It's great.
So draw 3, put 1 on the top of R&D.
One of the 9 that you have in your hand now.
Yeah. That's really, really good.
It's good.
I think
this card's very good,
man. I mean, this is a great little filtration
I
card.
have immediately put it in my RP deck. It's just great.
Yeah. I could even, man, I really like, oh my gosh, this is pretty cool. Even just like in Jinteki, I like this in like the Harmony Medtechs. Give you some added filtration that can really set that rush deck up, that you're trying to score out those 2 3-pointers. And also any deck that's looking for a little extra card draw, run some Jinteki cards, put this in there, and you can make it happen. Run 3 pups and just some random Jinteki stuff.
There's lots of play here. I also like the little bit of a mind game you can play with this. So I can hide the agenda on top of my R&D.
Yeah. What's safer?
But would I do that?
Would you do that? Would he do it, guys? Leave us a comment. Would Tim do that? I don't think he would. He wouldn't. But I'll leave my comment right now. I don't think he would.
Up next, we have the Mumbad City Grid.
Okay.
It is 3 cost, 3 trash, 3 influence, upgrade. It's a region.
Okay, important.
Whenever
Don't install
the runner... Yeah, you can't.
I did that. You know I did that at Worlds? I was against Zach Eaton Rosen, and we were having... It was a very sloppy game. I apologize, Zach. He was sloppy, I was sloppy. He was like jet lagged all to pieces. And I was like, oh yeah, I can have 2 Sands and just not res at the same time. So he'll see 1, and then it's like, that's illegal. And it was like, okay, I know that's a game loss. But then we had worked back an Adonis that he had accidentally put as like ice or something, I can't remember, in the game prior. So he was like, don't worry about it. So we straightened it up.
Yeah,
but
you came to an agreement.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
like,
don't do that.
Awful.
So this region says, whenever the runner passes a piece of ice protecting the server, you may swap that ice with another piece of ice protecting the server.
Okay. And passing, the language there is whether you break it or not, the second you move past it, this is triggering.
Yeah.
And then you can swap it with another piece protecting the server.
And that doesn't mean that you follow the ice either.
Right. So let's say I have 2 pieces of ice, and I have the city grid here. I run, this one gets rezzed, you deal with this one, you pass it, I can then move the rezzed ice to the place of the unrezzed ice, and now you can count it again. All right.
So this is
it's important.
A more active way of sunsetting.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I mean, early game Neural Katana could kill a man.
It could.
Right here. So watch out.
They would just jack out.
Game's getting dangerous. Yeah, that's true.
But
that is true. Dang.
But it's fine.
I want it to be better than it is. I have low hopes for this card. Ultimately,
That's ultimately how a lot of the regions go, I feel like.
Very low hopes for this. But, do the Jinteki Death Machine that we've been doing since core set. Put him through the blender, send him on a bullfrog, do the whole thing.
Put him through the blender.
Keep the bullfrog dream alive, please.
Sell portal, please.
Let's talk about Kala Ghoda Real TV.
Okay, let's.
0-cost cast asset. I'm sad it's not an advertisement, unfortunately. When your turn begins, you may look at the top card of the runner's stack. Whoop, there it is. And you can trash this card to have the runner trash the top card of their stack.
All right, next card.
Yeah. Woo.
No, it's not going to make it, Steven.
I mean, so obviously NEH gets to install this. It's 4. You can't trash it. They res it for free. It would be killer if it was an advertisement for Spark, but unfortunately it is not. You look at the top card of the runner's stack. I mean, I think this is just annoying enough to have 1 or 2 in an NEH deck.
I agree, it's annoying enough, but are you actually going to slot it? What do you cut for this?
Trash the first SMC, trash the first clone chip, trash the first clot. I don't know. It gives you at least a little insight into what's going on.
You have to trash this to do it.
I know.
Like,
I know. You can't really do it.
what do you cut for this card, Steven?
I'm trying to
That's
make
all I'm saying.
I'm trying to make a case for it.
It's fun. It's a fun card.
It's fun. It's fine.
Speaking of fun cards, Interrupt 0. It's a 2-cost code gate.
Awesome art.
4 strength, 4 Imbian. It's 1 influence. So it's not yoggable unless they have a counter or a buff, whatever. Yeah. It has 2 subroutines. For the remainder of this run, the runner must pay 1 credit as an additional cost each time he or she uses an icebreaker to break at least 1 subroutine.
Okay.
And then the second subroutine is the same.
Okay. So the next piece of ice, you're going to basically pay 2 extra credits to break through it.
For each subroutine.
Guaranteed. For each time to break at least 1 subroutine.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, if you break 3, you still only pay 1 extra credit?
You're paying 6 extra.
No way. Is that true?
Because it's for the, like, if you break 3 subroutines with 1.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true.
Each time he's using an icebreaker to break at least 1.
But like Mongoose that we looked at, it breaks 2 at once. So that would only be 1 credit.
Yeah.
1 credit extra.
2 extra. Both of these are.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. I hope you guys caught that out there. My brain is now on it.
Yeah.
So, like all ice that requires ice behind it to do anything, do you run this?
It's cheap and hard to break unless you're on the Yogg with data suckers. I think it's good.
It is pretty okay, isn't it?
It's a later game piece of ice, but I think it's one of the better ones.
It's pretty annoying. I mean, it's pretty guaranteed to be annoying. I don't know of a way that this isn't a cost to the runner in some way or another.
Yep.
All right. Well, hot dog. Let's get to it. Dedication ceremony. A 1-cost operation for our friends at Weiland Corporation. Man, weird art there. They're
cutting the ribbon.
We can place 3 advancement tokens on a face-up card. You cannot score that card until your next turn begins.
Okay, so the very first thing that everyone goes to is the renovations.
Right.
This does not trigger the renovations. It does not advance them. It places 3 advancements.
Really?
But it does accelerate the renovations to the point where they're getting their secondary effect.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But...
Is that all that we can do with this?
No. That is not all.
Tell me more.
Well, you can do things with ice. You can pay 1 to get 3 extra advancements on something.
Yep.
For an action. So you can give more subroutines to the salvage.
Okay.
Or the other ones.
Yep.
You can
ice walls.
Ice walls or firewalls or anything like that. You can also...
Boy, they're trying, aren't they? They are just trying to get this advancement thing off the ground.
You can also... Here's probably the biggest use, Steven.
Abort launch. It's not happening.
Steven, listen to me. This is probably the best use for this card is probably
Tell me.
Haas Arcology AI.
Okay. See, that's a card that you got to pull out of the binder to even know what we're talking about.
Okay. Haas Arcology AI.
Gives you extra clicks, right?
Yeah. It can only be advanced while it's unresed.
But this is a face-up card, right? Oh, it's unresed.
While it's unresed, you can only advance it.
Okay.
But then, when you res it, you can spin counters off of it, or advancements off of it, as a click.
So you can't advance it, but you can place advancements on it.
You can place advancements on it.
So this is like a weird Weiland superbiotic labor.
Sort of. You could also put this in HB.
Yeah, that also is probably smarter. But it's 3 influence.
But Haas Arcology is 4.
Oh, help us.
So it's just one of those interesting... Like, that's probably what this card is for. Like...
So guys, is Weiland advancement stuff ever actually going to be a thing?
They're going to try.
This is weird. It's always, even the Weiland advancement card, the most interesting one we've seen, is better in another faction. So, mark my words. I don't know what it's going to take. Tim.
It is what it is, dude.
Hit us with the temple here.
The Mumbad Temple. It is a 1-cost asset. It's an alliance. It's a facility. This card costs 0 influence if you have 15 or fewer ice in your deck, which I would say is most decks that I build.
Most decks, even right now.
It has 2 recurring credits. You can use these credits to res cards.
Okay.
This card is bananas.
This card is bananas, isn't it?
It's so good.
Yeah.
I immediately put this into my Replicating Perfection deck. I'm resing Sundews for free. I'm resing Caprices for free. I'm resing Pups for free.
Ooh.
Like, I'm resing other Mumbad Temples for this.
It's getting me excited.
I think this card is bananas good. And it costs 3 to trash.
You probably put this in any H as well. You probably put it in the weird Turtlebacks, Jinteki stuff.
But it goes in any deck that has 15 or fewer ices.
All right.
It immediately pays for itself.
Okay. It's an economy card. And then they got to pay 3 to trash it.
It's just so good.
Yeah, this is a good exchange. Look at this one. Play this one.
This might even be worth spending 2 influence on if you have more than 15 pieces of ice.
Whoa. Now you're blowing my mind.
But I don't think that... Just run 15 pieces of ice and you're fine.
Yeah, that's it. Easy. All right, finally, let's take a look at the Museum of History.
Look at that bear. He's staring at you.
Now, if ever you thought to yourself, you know what, I want to play some Netrunner and I want to have an exciting time, you probably didn't say to yourself, I'm going to build a Museum of History deck. But, my friends, that may be what you're doing. It is a one-cost Alliance and Ritzy asset.
Ritzy, that's important.
I like that this museum is Ritzy. That tells me a lot about it. It's 3 to trash, it's 2 influence, but it costs 0 if you have 50 or more cards in your deck. Val, take note. Okay, that's the only 50 card run I can imagine.
This is a corporation deck.
Oh, whoops. Not for Val. They don't go to the museum. They're anarchs. Okay, so 50 cards. So you just have to build a corp deck that is kind of watered down. That's what it's looking like. Let's see if it's worth it. When your turn begins, you may shuffle 1 card from Archives into R&D. Well, I can't hate this.
No, it's a good ability.
I can't hate it.
It's a very good ability.
You got to go to 54.
Well, you have to
Common
go to
knowledge
50
would say 54.
if you don't want to pay the influence.
Right.
You can still pay the influence.
You don't want to pay 2 influence for this.
You might for one of them.
You don't want to pay. This goes on the board, it gets trashed. You don't want to pay 2 influence for this.
You might.
If it was like 6 or 7 to trash, I would be more into it. No, this isn't it.
Now, it's worth noting that this gives you a shuffle.
Yep.
So if you were to use that Heritage Committee from Jinteki earlier to put a card on top of your deck...
So there's weird stuff to be
pass
done.
the turn.
Here's the thing that bothers me about this, though. It's not hard enough to get off the board that you can actually count on the effect to be in your game.
Right.
So, like, I can't build any fun, big 54, 50 card deck that is based around recurring a card over and over again that I put back in my deck and search out or whatever it is. Maybe I'm missing... There's probably something to this that is exploitable at some point.
This is the kind of card that you look at and you're like, this is probably
You can get to the back and you can keep shuffling. It would be annoying, but at a 1-3 ratio, this is not big enough. If it was 6 to trash, I would look at it.
What if you have a server that has this in it and it's protected super well? They can't trash it.
Well, I'd rather be...
And then you power shut down your whole deck.
I hate that card.
Every turn, you get whatever card you want.
Yeah. This is a problem, guys. Can we just pitchfork this one out of the game? Just rise up. Can we have the people's just collective bargaining here against Damon and FFG HQ? Can we do that? Can we just say we would like power shutdown out of the game?
I don't think the power shutdown is the problem.
No, you're right. It needs to be errated or diagnostics or whatever. I don't know. It's just causing... Don't let people trash their own decks. Number 1 rule of card games in every game ever made: shenanigans arise whenever people can trash their entire decks and then selectively draw whatever they want for the rest of the game. Just don't do it, okay? Just don't do it.
That's fair.
Anyway, guys, there's Kala Ghoda and a little rant on the side. So if you want to pick this one up, we've got it in our store, teamcono.com. You can find it there. And if you want to get this pack, not this one specifically, but if in the future when packs come out, you want to get them automatically, we have our Covenant subscription service. Tim's a subscriber, I'm a subscriber, and we really love it. It's a good service. So check it out, and we give you some exclusive perks as well. Our subscribers are well loved. Thanks for joining us, guys, and let us know what you feel about this in the comments. We'll see you again soon.
Have a good one, guys.